ladies and gentlemen. So obviously this is the pre-stream where we usually have the good old crack. How is everybody doing? How are you all? How are you fine people? Assuming there's people in the chat here. Ah, hello there, Drop. How are you doing, my friend? Indeed. Oh boy. Episode 9, who'd have thought it? I do hope everybody's doing well today. Now, there will be a lot left to do here. I mean, the good news is at least the foul weather has somewhat subsided and the mud has arrived. Definitely quite good. Well, we can see here the ice level is still quite high. As to whether these rivers are frozen is going to be rather intriguing. Hello there, Grey Knight. How are you doing, my friend? Good to see you once again. I hope you guys did enjoy the Armored Brigade stream last night. That was a lot of fun. Worked out really well, actually. Just solid 2 hours there. Worked out fantastic. Hello there, Yuri. Yuri Blau. How you doing, my friend? Those chieftains, man, they were absolutely deadly. I can't believe the luck that we had with our T-62s. Like, those T-62s just absolutely saved us. Just absolutely pulled us through the worst parts there. I mean, we got very unlucky. I mean, this is the thing. It's like, I sent them to move via the covered approach. I suppose I should have really changed the orders and have them move fast, but... funny how things worked out. I mean, we lost a couple of the T-62s, and then just everything was going to hell. And then they just seemed to be in the right place at the right time, just to really get the drop on some chieftains from the woods there. That was rather fun. Ah, that's good to hear there, Yuri. Hello there, Munin. How are you doing, my friend? I think that may be the first time I've seen you in stream, so welcome. Hope you are going to enjoy this. I'm so glad that Krakow actually held here. That could have been really poor. I suppose the residents of Krakow were somewhat flustered. Hello there, Red Star. How are you doing, my friend? Yeah, we were very lucky here. The actual 2 cities in the area did hold. So finally the tide will turn and the march to Moscow can begin. Well, the tide definitely will take a different turn. We won't really be able to carry out offensive actions. I mean, the mud very much reduces the offensive abilities of both sides to absolutely nil. It's a terrible period here. It's going to be difficult for both sides here. Though I imagine the Soviets are going to suffer rather heavily. They're going to see a lot of vehicle losses, actually. And that's due to the fact of whether these rail lines are actually available for them. Oh, better now? Ah. Oh, God, man, you having a bad day? I'm not too bad. Not too bad at all. The thing is, these guys may have a chance to actually survive. Hello, hello there, no how's that? How you doing, my friend? Hello there, Camdra. Nice to see you. Yup. This pocket may have a chance, though that very much does depend. I think we are going to have to keep on trying to evacuate forces here. But at the end of the day, that's not too bad. At least they're not going to be wiped out as such. Even the Soviets with all this massive amount of firepower during this weather will not be able to manage it. Yeah, I mean, Königsberg is not going to fall. It survived so many attacks, so many battles, and yet the city stands resolute. I mean, things would definitely change once the weather changed yet again to being just basically open and clear, which would probably be really bad for us. But we do look as though we're going to achieve a victory here. As you can see that we do have a 4.1 to 1 VP advantage here, which is very nice. Had I not surrendered Memel, we probably would have been doing better. Though, Ventspils. Ventspils. How the heck you say that? Seems to be one of the objectives, so whereabouts would that be? Oh, right, yes, that port, of course. Though it's only worth a few points anyway, so that's not too bad. Hello there, Magnum, how you doing? Hello there, Jaculus. I think as far as it goes here, it's mostly going to be trying to reorganize the Wehrmacht. Obviously the army and Luftwaffe. I suppose Navy to a degree. Obviously it's not represented here, but I suppose you could say that. Take a step back and let the Soviets try and catch you. Well, we'll be taking a look at certain areas and really trying to figure out where we want to deploy. The issue is obviously these forces that are across the river here. That's going to be rather poor. It would have been beautiful had we been able to hold that river, but I'm going to take this. I think this is going to work fine for me. It does give us a chance to actually have these forces digging in over here, which would be nice. Though we are coming close to the start of the stream here, so we'll be able to get into the meat very, very soon. I hope you guys are excited. I sure am. No, the stream starts about 6. This is just like pre-stream. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to XTRG's challenge. So, rather than talking about myself in third person, I suppose we should get into this, and shan't we? We have recently just managed to hold the Soviet line back, at least for this moment. The weather has turned, the snows have subsided for the time being. Though, if we take a look over here, we can see that there's still some ice here. So as to whether these rivers will be available for actual use is undecided as of this moment. They may still count as frozen. What we can do here is we can take a look over at the weather, so you can see clear. So the actual weather in Germany itself is actually nice and clear, which is going to be fantastic. And though we have mud elsewhere. So if we take a look at the difference, obviously, it's going to be great. For example, these forces can move significantly further than... Well, they can definitely move further than a force that's static. But yes, you can see here the distance of movement is very much diminished. Right, could you show a close-up of a river hex? So for example, if I turn off the units here, you can see that we do have multiple rivers, some large ones like the Vistula, as well as the both very large rivers, and of course we do have smaller ones, and of course larger ones like the Oder, which ideally we have not been pushed back to, so this is going to be quite nice. So what we're going to do then is, as of last stream, I actually did give wrong information. The total number of losses is actually much higher. So we can see here the total number of Axis losses is rather incredible. We have a total of just over 2 million. 267,238 men have been killed. 37,639 captured. 1.7 million disabled, i.e. casualties of war. Multiple injuries, that sort of thing. Basically, they're not able to fight on the front line anymore. We've received 143,597 men back to the front line. The Soviets, though, their losses are pretty severe. Well, the thing is, they do have that manpower advantage, but even then, those are some very severe losses. We can see here, the Soviets have 3,106,000 losses in total. That's rough. 475,000 men have been killed. That's a massive number. Just think of the sheer scale of that number. That's like entire cities just being wiped out. You can see here, we've only captured 3,323 Soviet prisoners. Definitely different from the early days of 1941, those heady days of initial success. The Soviets have seen 2.6 million of their numbers, of the Red Army, removed from the front line. Though their return rate is actually not too bad. 139,062 returned to frontline service. Yeah, the last few months of almost every war, the losses are the heaviest, definitely. Things do become quite desperate, I suppose you could say. Now then, so as to how we're going to remedy the situation. We did manage to hold the line here in East Prussia. We've lost a lot of ground from our initial standing point of over here. Of course, all of this has been lost, so the vast majority of East Prussia is definitely out of our control. Though we do retain control of Königsberg, and we retain Danzig. At least we have something to hold on into that area. We do have these forces which I'd very much like to evacuate from the area. I think what we need to do then is take a look at what defensive positions we have. You can see here we do have the Danzig fortified zones, which are very nice. They've given us a good solid position to dig into. So, we can maintain these without having the fortified zones. They're taking up some room here. We will definitely try to reorganize the armies. So for example, we have 2nd Army, which is mixed in with, which army is this? This is... Yeah, so 2nd Army has been mixed in with 4th Army. We also do have the Panzer group over here, the Panzer Army. The 3rd Panzer Army. And then obviously the forces of the SS Army over here. But I do believe they have just been recently... Yes, they're now attached to Army Group Vistula. Okay. If we take a look at reinforcements, you can see here, in the following turn we'll receive a additional corps, but we'll lose the 25th Panzer Division. Which I'm not happy about. The 25th is actually a very formidable division. In fact, any Panzer Division is rather formidable should they actually have the equipment available. Now if we actually take a look into our production here, this is where things will become rather interesting. If I take a look at active pools, and we'll take a look at transit. So let's see. Definitely looking towards the ground here. We do have a few, yeah, we have a decent number of Panthers in transit. 20 here, 18 Panzer IV Js. These aren't huge numbers, but the thing is, ideally with this lull in, well, our ideal lull in combat, we will be able to boost the number of AFVs that we have within our divisions, which will definitely serve us out quite nicely. German Panzers are always very handy. Tank destroyers are something that we're quite interested in. You can see here, Jagdpanzer IVs increasing in number. Have they only just recently been unlocked? And they've been available from 1944. Seems like we just don't have too many. Actually, no, I tell a lie. We do have them within 13 units already. That's good to see. We do have some elephants, though none of these are being built. Jagdpanthers are being built. Jagdpanthers are very effective. Very, very nice. Okay, it's good to see this. In terms of active units, let's take a look at the King Tiger, for example, the Tiger 2. We have 176 of them, only 4 are damaged. That's quite nice. They're obviously within the actual cores here, obviously all Panzer cores. That's good to see. Basically means that they can be a hell of a lot more effective in helping. You can see here we have 44 with 1 damage. That's good, very, very good. Right. So let's see. We need to really try to establish where we want our front line to be. For example, the Soviet forces seem to have actually pulled back in a few locations, which is rather interesting. Now, I want you guys to note our vehicle pool. That's going to be very important. So, for example, vehicles in units, 78,593 over here. So if I take a look at Germany, yes. Then we here have 47,851 vehicles in total. So just shy of 48,000. 2,517 vehicles are in repair. We don't have huge numbers here. Ideally, we could try to produce more vehicles. So vehicle repair vehicle. Okay. Right. So it seems that we can only build what may be 289 vehicles here, which is not a lot. Obviously, this number may be subject to change. Wait, are they Tiger 2s or H's or the P's? They did look like Tiger P's, actually. Let's see, we'll go back over here then. Let's take a quick look. That does look like the Tiger, well, Tiger 2P. I believe the Henshaw turret was a little bit different. It could be a Henshaw turret, I'm not entirely sure here. Not the greatest picture that we have of them. Vegan. Okay. What is this game? Multiplayer PvP, or we are playing against the AI here, but of course you can play against other human opponents, which is definitely a significantly harder game. Right, so let's take a look at the actual battlefield here. Let's actually take a look at the front. So I would very much like to establish our positions back within the town here. The town of Kaliz is actually worth something, actually a large amount of supply there. Quite large. We'll retake that. We'll move forward with 10th Panzer Grenadier Division. Now that does give us a very nice defensible position there. Very handy. Will definitely help us out significantly. Now, we do have the Doberetz Infantry Division. We have the 10th SS Corps as well as the 9th Army Headquarters. So we will move back the headquarters over here to the actual rail lines. Yeah, that's correct. Right, do I want to reform the Holstein Panzer Division? Probably a very good idea. What we'll do then is we'll move them towards, what do we have here? We'll move them towards the town. And I'll have the division reformed. I'd like to ideally have these divisions rebuilt if we could do. What I mean by that is, for example, the Holstein Panzer Division. They have their table of equipment here. You can see their actual number compared to their theorized number is very much different. You can see here they do have okay amounts. I mean, they've only got 57%, but that's not too bad. It could have been far, far worse. Yeah, if we had not been pushed back so far in East Prussia, things would have looked significantly better. But we've managed to hold them in the center here for some time. And the last turn was very, very bloody. I mean, this was very much looking like they could have broken through here. We had to basically take assets from all over the line here, all over the front, just to make sure we held there. But, thankfully, we did. Now, it's going to come to trying to establish a front line. I think we are better off actually staying on the other side of the river. Which would probably be a nice idea. So if we can, we'll stay on the other side of the river, ideally to secure a much better and stronger position. Let's see what we can manage. Now I could push over here, back towards Lodz. Lodz was very hard fought for. Shame it never really had a chance to fortify. You can see here the sheer amount of damage. the city is very much reduced to nothing. But if we want to talk about city fighting, we should definitely talk about Königsberg. For example, in the last stream here, we saw absolutely magnificent battles in scale. For example, 192,000 soldiers of the Red Army, over 5,000 pieces of artillery, over 1,000 armoured fighting vehicles. Huge, huge numbers. Look at the sheer amount of aircraft. Absolutely massive numbers. Though this city has continued to hold, thankfully. It's these level 3 fortifications now. Now, ideally, we should be able to begin fortifying that back to level 4 soon. You can see the city's been very much demolished. So ideally, these forces can continue to hold. Now, I could assign further reinforcements such as Sturm Artillery Brigades or Pioneer Battalions, though that's not really going to be needed. Yeah, we're doing well in the scoring degree. Okay, let's start to push forward here. What I'm going to do is take these divisions, spread them out, just secure this ground, really. Now, 16th Panzer Division. What I'm going to try to do here is hold the front line. Yes, it's definitely turn by turn. You play a week at a time. We're 13 weeks into this actual scenario, for a total of 20 turns in overall. Okay. What we'll do here then is we'll try to pull off armoured forces as we can. Really try to hold the line with as little troops as we can do. That way we can actually rest the vast majority of them, which would be quite nice. Okay, so we'll push you to the front line. We'll establish a front line first and foremost, and we'll go from there, really. I think that'll probably be the best way to work things. Okay, the 275th can't advance. I could advance there to gain that entrenched position, but there's really not much point. Though it could be worthwhile to cut these Soviet forces off from actual rail. Well, I'm going to keep this position here. We'll keep this. I'll advance the 304th Division forward. Right. Now, it would be nice to hold with light woods. Definitely better than this clear position here. Though the thing is, I can't really push back the 9th Mechanized or the 6th Tank Corps or the 15th Guards Rifle Division. I can't push them back, so trying to do this is actually just going to put me at a disadvantage. Yeah, just moving this position to that position. But again, there's something to be said for actually entrenching in trees, isn't there? Well, in a forest. Would also take the city off the front line. So I guess we'll move forward then and take that position. I'll put artillery over here. There we go. We'll have you reserved. Now, this is what I'm talking about. I'll take away the Panzer divisions as I can. That'd be quite ideal. The 432nd definitely had a rough time. We do have multiple divisions down here, though as to whether they can actually hold up front line is debatable. We'll keep my Panzer forces just to the rear here, but we'll definitely try to have them refitted. Ideally reinforced with new equipment and men. Indeed. Right. What we're going to do then is we'll pull these forces back. I can move the 3rd Marine Division to the front line. I do obviously have these forces of the 72nd, which could be moved here. We do have the 344th Wards Grenadier Divisions, but what we'll do then is I'm going to move these forces back. So we'll retreat back towards the cities. I could retreat back towards Breslau, obviously give them some distance, but I'm not going to do that. And what we'll do for the moment is move them across the river, and then potentially move them to Ostrava, where they can actually just be rebuilt. I do have some actual reinforcement divisions over here, which is very, very nice. Sweet. Yes, we do have divisions over here as well. Brilliant. As well as in Prague. That's good to see. At least we have a couple divisions that we could use to actually aid in building up a defensive line. This is what we're going to be doing here, really trying to build up a defensive line. Obviously, we'll have one up on the front line. If we can build a secondary line, I'd be very happy. If we could actually achieve building a tertiary line, I'd be very, very happy. As that would definitely give us a solid defensible position. Okay. Pull these forces back. Have the corps reformed, basically. And that armor. Solid. Right, okay. We'll pull back the armor of the 17th Army as well. Actually, ideally I move out to the rail line. I'll move out into the rail line here. 20th Panzer Grenadiers. I'll move the 72nd to reinforce this position here. We do have the benefit of a entrenched position, which is very, very nice. 3rd Marine can be moved here. These forces are ready for battle as it is of right now. What we're going to do is pull them from the front line. I'll move the 68th Infantry Division here to the front. Though, saying that, I do need to fill in these gaps. The issue is that many of our divisions here were being routed left, right, and centre. Okay, the 3rd Marine will move in here to take up that position. I may have to keep the 20th Panzer Grenadier just on station, I suppose you could say. 68th will fill in this gap. I do have the benefit of artillery here to support our defensive operations, which is very nice. Okay, these forces are ready. I do have infantry here. Yes, I have a division here. They can fill in that hole. Okay. The 17th division can move in. I mean, the 17th is very much reduced in strength here. I mean, compare... Yeah, I mean, this is such a poor division. Especially compared to, like, the 1941 level of strength that these divisions had. Definitely down there. So what I'm going to do is have forces actually pull back, and we'll have them set to refit. Ideally make them ready. And to be fair, having these forces to the rear, we could use them to actually start to establish a 2nd line of fortifications. Which would be very nice, as I've talked about multiple times. I mean, this area will try to establish a front line. And a secondary line. So I'm going to bring up the drawing tools here, and we'll see about that. So obviously the front line will run roughly like this. I think what we'd like to do then is potentially establish a secondary line. Now, we do have a river here. If I take a look at this then, and see, how do we want to work this? So light blue for the river. Now this is a solid position. It's a shame the river doesn't connect here. But we do have another river, which is very nice. This position here is actually forested, so at least it has an advantage. It's not just clear and open terrain. We do have a few towns here, so this is quite nice. Obviously got one here. One here. A couple of them. Nice. That's a solid position right there. Of course, another one here. So what we'll do then is... Well, we'll establish a secondary defensive line. I'll do that in green. We'll have it run something like this. Ideally along the rivers. Where we can. I'd like to have some distance between the front line and the secondary line. Mostly to give us some operational... Well, some defense in depth, really. Try and have the Soviets advance forward and put themselves in a position where they're, I suppose, vulnerable. Okay. I'll move these forces back then. Then again, let's see. Now I'll keep them in this position here. Move the artillery to the front. Let's see. The 88th is actually ready for frontline service. That's good. Right, we have our panzer divisions. We're going to move them back towards Breslau. Okay. Yes, that headquarters was placed. Move that back. Okay, move you here. We'll have set a refit. Now, the 10th SS Panzer Division is actually doing remarkably well compared to other divisions. I mean, you take a look at this. This is actually a very large division in theory. I mean, even now, it's actually quite large compared to other forces. We can see here it's actually very well equipped. You can see here we have self-propelled guns, heavy self-propelled guns, a lot of medium tanks. Obviously, 181 would be very nice to have. We have 103, which is still quite good for this stage here. Nice to have some actual forces available. Right. Now this is intriguing. So this actual table of equipment for the division here calls for no close support armored cars. We actually do have 2 of them. That's a throwback from before. Mechanized infantry, very nice. Motorized. Yeah, medium flak / AT. Intriguing. That's good to see. What do we have here? Do we have anything that is capable of carrying a tank killing gun? Only 37. Of course, we do have the 88, so I was looking for something that was maybe mounting an 88. I don't know if we'd have that. I mean, that's a 75mm gun. That could probably knock out something. How's a grenadiers? Both of these are only 1943. So this is good. This is going to do this division very, very well. Where the 1st and 2nd SS Panzer Division? It's a good question. Well, what we'll do here is we'll go through all of the actual forces here, sort the armor out and take them from the front line. And we can figure things out from there. We do have 20th Panzer Division, which is actually doing very well. It's actually quite healthy. Some of these Panzer Divisions are actually relatively healthy. You can see obviously this one has less armor in total. But yeah, actually quite nice. Well, in their table of equipment. Not bad, not bad. We'll have you pull back towards Breslau. We'll try to reform our panzer armies as well. Have you reattach this command. This is great. It's going to give us some really nice opportunities to reform our divisions here. Well, reform the armies. I do have some team here, but they do seem to have some pretty capable offensive power here. I'd imagine that comes to all the tanks. But ideally, we should probably support these areas here. It may be worthwhile actually using the 17th Panzer just to make up some of the numbers. But what I'm going to do here is take the 193rd. We'll move them back. Have them start to ready themselves. Right, start to digging over here. And ready. And ready. Okay. Yeah. I do have the 36th SS Grenadier Division. At least that's something. It's a shame they can't move to the front here. Now I could move them via rail, but that seems like a waste. It'd probably be better off moving armored forces. Or even indeed fresh forces. So for example, the 15th Division. Not huge numbers, but still that's pretty decent. So we'll use these divisions to actually fill in the front lines, but not here. Here we'll use what we have nearby. So what I'll do is I'll split up the 17th Division. We'll move these assets in. So I'll move an asset of it, well, a brigade of it over here. There we go. Probably still not quite enough, but ideally it may be good to go. Let's see. We do have a Panzer Division down here in the south that we did move. So I do have the 4th SS Panzer Grenadier Division. We do have the 21st Panzer Division here. There's 18th SS Panzer Grenadier Division. Looking for the SS forces. This is a mess. So many units here. Okay. Pull back the 18th. We'll have them head towards their headquarters, actually. Be near there. For them to refit. Have you reattached to this local core headquarters? Yeah, there's some way to go to Vienna here, thankfully. Had they been here, that would have been very, very... I suppose you could say dangerous. Right, I have additional Volks artillery. We'll move this over here then. Only 46 guns, but at the end of the day, that is additional guns. I do have the 88th Division here, which is quite nice. I could set them to reserve. Well, actually, I'm going to move them to the front line position here. Give it some additional staying power. So many forces that are not ready. This is impressive. Oh dear. Where is your command? The Oder Corps. You're over here. Okay. We'll make you responsible then for establishing the fortifications. I do definitely want to cover this area. Start having them dig in there. At least we can narrow it down to a certain degree. Pull these forces back slightly. Right, you're assigned to this Panzer Corps. So the orders are attached to the 4th Panzer Army. Okay. We'll have you move up to this position here. You can then be set to reserve. Okay. What we're going to do is pull back that core headquarters. Let's see. You can actually handle additional forces. Okay, you're assigned over here, so we'll have you move to the north. Yeah, we'll start having them refit. We'll take note of their actual table of equipment values and see how they actually change or increase. We do definitely want to establish ourselves in a better position. Now over here, don't want to go across the river. I don't think there's anything to be gained from that. We do have the elements of Deutschland that we do need to rebuild here. Okay, we'll move the Berlin Infantry Division. I don't have a huge amount of infantry here in the centre. Well, then again, I do have a couple of divisions that we can use to fill in gaps. That's very nice. Okay. Right, so the 25th is withdrawing, and actually does have a decent number of vehicles there. That's a shame. 135 medium. It's a shame that we'll be losing the 25th. Of course, we have the fighting in the west, of course. Okay. I suppose we might as well move them onto the line. They can aid in with actually digging in then. We'll reform the Deutschland. Panzergrenadier. There we go. Have you reformed? This could be very large, and it seems that they will have embedded heavy tanks, which is quite nice. Yes, so we do have the Tigers here at the moment. So we are actually meant to have at least 50, it seems? Yeah, about 45, okay. That's actually rather powerful. We'll move them back towards Breslau. Have them set to refit. But having 242 armoured vehicles is actually pretty good. We do have... yeah, a good number of Stugs, actually. That's respectable. Okay, move you towards the rear. Though not as far as that, we do want them a little bit closer. Okay. Back here. We'll try to reorganize the actual commands, make sure everything makes sense. Look for additional infantry. May have to just leave the anti-grenadiers on the front line here for the time being. Which is not the worst thing in the world anyway. Okay, our 25th head back over here. Oof, this Panzer Division's definitely taken a big loss. Then again, look at the size. This is tiny. This is absolutely pitiful. Only 40 medium tanks at total. Oof. Definitely a desperate division. Yeah, we'll keep you here in reserve. Same for the artillery, keep on reserve. Okay, you can handle additional troops. That's good to see. Who do you belong to? Right, that corps. A lot of these forces are under the command of the Panzer Corps. So what we'll do is we'll actually have them reassigned. So we can have a couple reassigned to that corps there. That's good to see. What was that, the 42nd Corps? Okay, I'll have you reassigned to 42nd Corps. These forces are the Panzers. Suppose at the end of the day I could just move this headquarters a little bit further down there. That'll solve that situation. Then we'll have them shifted. Okay. Hello there, Van Bishop. How you do, my friend? It's great to see you. Okay, your headquarters is actually down here, so we'll move you down that way. How is this division doing? 91 out of 160. Okay. So this is going to be great for them just to try and recover some of their table of equipment. Fine with not advancing there. Take the Führer Big Light Division. Actually, they need to be signed down here, so we'll move them back to their command. How are you doing? Okay. Yeah, look at the amount of fuel there. Obviously, it's going to use a lot of fuel moving here. We'll have you reassigned. Now, we do have a lot of actual administration points, which is very nice. It does mean that we can actually start to establish a few more fortified positions should we wish to. Like, for example, I could establish them all the way down here, which is actually not a bad idea. Yeah. I doubt the Soviets will make it that far. It's not a terrible idea. Perhaps maybe one of the... Let's see. Yeah, I think we'll establish that. I only need 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, yeah, that's not bad. Right, so we'll establish further fortified zones here. So these will take some time to come online, but eventually they will come online. Which means we'll have a pretty solid defensive position there. There we go. Maybe worth establishing another line here, but we'll save up our administration points and see what we can use them for in the meantime. Okay. No need to advance here. When I have the ability to, I'd like to actually move a division to the rear here. The idea is just to have that to refit. We don't need these huge numbers on the front line anymore. Yeah, the 10th Volkskamjäger Division is looking so very nice. It's interesting to actually see that they have so much armor embedded in the division. Very nice. Yeah, definitely build that wall and have the Soviets pay for it. That's a lot of self-propelled flak. Yeah, medium flak AT, medium self-propelled flak. Yeah, they have a lot of that. That's rather impressive that they have so much self-propelled flak. I suppose that is from the fact that they are Volkskamjägers. Okay, we'll move back with these forces here. Have the Jaegers refit. There's not a huge difference, so once they're closer to that actual, I can move them back to the front line. We go refit and reserve. Lovely. Right, I can re-establish my position here. Fantastic. The 252nd will move forward. I'll have the 192nd support them. Yeah, 1st Hermann Panzer Division. Not so bad. Okay. We'll have both Division and Corps move back. Have you set a refit? Now, I do have the 9th Jaegers. The morale isn't great. You can see here, obviously, fatigue isn't too bad. They've had some time to recover, I suppose. Okay. We'll continue with our refit. Yep, you're covering this just nicely. You're actually overburdened. Well, you actually are quite heavily overburdened. So what I'll do then is take forces and move them to another corps. Right. Okay. Actually, now could be the time to actually move some armies around. Let's see. Headquarters. 1 point. Okay, so it's the 4th... Is it the 4th army? Right, that looks like Army Group A. Then comes on, well, the 4th Panzer Army. So Yodel. Okay. Where would 4th be? Ah, right, of course. Yeah, I can understand that. They've actually gained a lot of troops here. So I could attach corps to the 17th Army, or even corps to the 9th Army. How is 9th Army doing? Not great. 17th Army's up there as well. Okay. Let's think about this. You're under the command of Army Group Vistula. Right. We need to find a way to fix this. Yeah, you're overburdened as well. Have you reassigned? Not ideal having these guys under that command. I suppose at the end of the day, it helps the situation for now, so we'll settle for that. Right, you could handle additional forces. It's just that we need to transfer a corps from the 4th Panzer Army to another army group. Let's see. I could have you put under the command of Army Group Vistula. Yeah, obviously it costs a lot to have them assigned to these upper echelons of command. Right, 9th Army is actually suffering. This 2nd Army still? 2nd Army. How is 2nd Army doing? 2nd Army is like... Right. I don't think we have a huge amount of choice. Unless I have them assigned to 18th Army, which command is still over here. Probably not a bad idea. Speaking of which, yeah, this situation is going to be fun, but at least they may have a chance to survive it. Rather than before where they had practically none. Oh dear. We'll reorganize this command, well, this line over here, then we can work things out like that. I do have this Panzer Corps, so at least that could take some additional troops. Yeah, the mountain core is actually really overburdened. So we'll have them shift. Yeah. Okay. Oh boy. That's a very solid division. Okay. I'm going to take these 2 divisions off the front line and have them refit. Hello there, Lanza. I'm not entirely sure about the battle stream. Hopefully, one of the Matrix staff members in the chat could actually let you know about that. Okay. Yeah, definitely overburdened. I'll have these 3 divisions assigned to the new Panzer Corps. Right. I do have 16th Army here. Okay. Let's put you under a proper army. Let's see. That's 4th Army. That's a good question, actually. When is 4th Army? Ah, okay. Well, that's good to see. So we should attach forces to 4th Army then. That's good to see. So I'll have you assigned to 4th Army. 19 points there. That leaves us 19. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. I'll have you... Right, I can't have you reassign. Either can I have you... Right here. Have you signed this new Panzer? Yeah, that's going to be rather interesting if we actually start to see the Allies approaching from the opposite direction. Yeah, I don't think we have the troops to stop that. There we go. Have them move to the rear so they can be refitted. There we go, refit. Okay, move the panzers and infantry back. Interdiction there. Then they do lose a bomber in that. They inflict no damage, so that's not too bad. I don't think I'll complain too much about that. Okay, we'll start to have the 5th Panzer refitted. The 5th Panzer... Not too bad. I mean, the vast majority of our Panzer division's been reduced quite heavily. They've not seen too much direct combat. This is a very complicated situation in the north. What we want to go to try to do then is pull back elements of this Panzer army. I like your optimism. Okay, you need to stay on the front line. Let's see. Do I have you assigned to Roll Command? Again, it's rather costly and not worthwhile. Right, what we're going to do then is we're going to get rid of the fortified positions here to make travel easier. Also made things easier to understand. Sure, we're losing nearly 2,000 troops. But then again, it's only, what, 1,700 troops with 9 guns? It's nothing spectacular. It's just a hold and force than anything. At least those infantrymen can go into other forces now. I'll establish a position here just outside of Danzig, though. There we go. Oh, right, from Hungary. Ooh. Right, move the headquarters back. Yeah, a lot of command here. I'm not a major fan of having core headquarters so close to the front line. Never a good thing. Have that artillery pulled back. Right, have that force move over there where we can start digging in at the very least. Okay, we do have the 23rd SS Panzergrenadiers. I think what I'd like to do is actually move that force really here along with the Panzers. That's a very important position to keep open. We've parked the bus. That's one way of saying it. I'm trying to keep them within their actual command and reorganize them, really. It's a difficult thing over here in the north. Well, that seems to be okay, so let's see. I do have these additional forces here, which are actually, yeah, you can see the difference here in clear terrain. So end of the day, I need to prevent them from getting to clear terrain. Ideally, we have clear terrain work in our favour for some time. Right, so you need to be reattached to this core. What we can do then with these troops is we can try to have them made ready for combat. And these are probably going to be the troops that get the, well, most deserved rest. And again, the troops in the centre have definitely fought doggedly and both tenaciously as well for each and every inch of ground. Okay. Okay, we'll say you to refit then. They've obviously a lot of manpower loss there. Yeah. Okay. We do have the panzers here too. I think we need to get forces out of this position, starting with the armoured. Get them out. There we go. Let's make sure we move the 4th. Yeah, the 4th can't move. But I can move the actual SS Panzers. The Panzergrenadier. Take them off the ship. There we go, let's move them over here. Have them start their refit. Yeah, sadly we can't move them. But that's fine, at least they can hold that position. We just need to get forces out of this location. Okay, they can't move either. Move headquarters from the front line, ideally. Yeah, definitely. It's going to be difficult trying to pull forces out here, due to the issue that we only have the one port. I could try to take that position there just to actually give us a little bit more room, to be honest. So I think I will do that. At least then that's going to allow us to actually spread forces out. Yeah, I prefer that move. There we go. That means I can actually move these headquarters around now. Who do you belong to? I see. Now I'm going to spread out some of the defenses here, so we'll move some of the defenders here. Then again, this is a little bit dangerous. I'll take another division here, move that back. Okay. Okay, this is working out well enough. So with that, we are pretty much ready to go into the next turn. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move these additional forces over here. And really, where do we move them to? Let's take a look over here. I could advance actually really re-secure the rail line. That'd be very nice. So push forward. Not too much, obviously. We'll have them reassigned. Do we have the points for that? We do. Nicely done. Okay. Right, have these forces obviously refit. Wow, it's like the worst of both worlds there. Have you reassigned to something close by? There we go. Let them start marching down this way. Okay. What we'll do then is I'll try to assemble these forces, and what I could do is when we have the new core when it arrives, we could use that. I'll have them moved outside of Breslau for the time being, but we'll try to form an actual proper core. But at least if we have something that we can reinforce sections of the line with, that'd be very, very good. Yeah, moving reinforcements up here. Not a huge amount, but that's actually respectable numbers of troops. At least it would make something of a difference where it was deployed. Right, we don't have the rail capacity to move them. How about you? I could move you. That's because you're Right, I could actually reactivate these forces, basically make them ready. That's good to know. I do have 12th Army here. That's great. What I'll do then is I'll have them under the command of 12th Army. Yeah, we'll use 12th Army then to make up the Pitfall command. Yeah, I can apologize for the slower pace of this stream. There's a lot that we need to do here. But we'll be moving on to the next turn in just a moment. Yep, they're all assigned here to 12. Assign them to the mighty 12th army. It will be very interesting to see how the turn plays out. I mean, I really do hope that the weather does not change back, otherwise we will be rather, yeah, not going to be a great situation then. Right, we'll go with that then, and with that we'll move on to the next turn. Indeedy. Okay. So what do you guys predict then? What do you think will happen then in the coming weeks? How will we proceed with this? That's good to know. Ideally, we start to regain vehicles. That's the major thing we need right now. If we can actually start to... Yeah, so if we take a look there, the Soviets have... Ooh, thank God for that. Major losses there, though. Over 1,000. That's very harsh. Well, these are major losses. Wow, okay. I honestly did not expect them to continue their offensive, so this is rather scary. Genuinely didn't think they'd be doing much pushing. I suppose then again they do have sectors with a lot of force. Yeah, I expected something there to be fair. Yeah, you can look at the number of AFVs being damaged though. Routed. Right, so the Red Army is not quite yet ready to give up the offensive. That's fine, I can hold them. I mean, that is a very powerful offensive for us that they do have there. It's not obviously got the same powers it did, but it's still powerful nonetheless. There's so many men. Thankfully, we do hold them. There's so many men, 173,000 men. 110, 111. They do hold once more. The thing is, if I lose these positions, I don't really have much room to fall back into now. Yeah, thankfully they're holding. Yes, we held that position. Good, good. Very, very good. Lovely. Right, yeah. That's great. The longer we hold these positions, the better as well, as we can actually start to entrench ourselves. If the weather persists, it will give us time to pull back. That's very, very brave. That is very brave and very, very silly. Just take a look at the numbers here. 197,822 soldiers of the Red Army, along with over 5,000 pieces of artillery and over 1,000 armoured fighter vehicles attack Königsberg once more. Just look at the numbers here, though. That's a huge reversal in our strength in the air here. 296 fighters, 105 bombers, against 300 fighters and 109 bombers. We lose 13 fighters, 37 bombers. The Reds lose 25 and 28. And your back is to see it's kind of stiffens your spine. Yeah, pretty much, though. Yeah, we did lose more. But considering the sheer amount of forces here. The city continues to hold, which I'm really glad about. Okay, we do hold here. We're holding now against much larger numbers than we previously would have been absolutely annihilated by. Yes, I'm glad I moved troops there to make sure that we hold. Yeah, there's a lot of armoured fighting vehicles, right. Right, lovely. Now, ideally, Red Army losses will continue to increase while ours remain roughly steady. The weather definitely suits the defender. And these positions that we did lose, we may be able to retake. It depends on whether the Soviets can actually take advantage of that, or whether they're just going to use way too much of their movement in the attack. Ooh, I'm surprised that we actually lost the town there. Then again, they were attacked by 76,000 men, so that's not too bad. Yeah, that's true. And they're routed. Worst case scenario is the fact that we fall back to the Vistula. At the end of the day, that's a major river, and we will have some defenses there. But this is a testament to just how hard East Prussia was pushed here. But these men are still breaking. Given some time of respite, they'll be able to dig in. We're definitely seeing much better victory ratios here. Each and every turn allows us to actually get the supplies that they need right there. Now they are losing a lot of armored fighter vehicles, which is very nice. Okay, they do fall back. Heavy losses. It does seem like when we are retreating here under this weather condition, we do seem to lose a lot more men. Yeah. Backstroke. A lot of men there. Yeah, lots of men being lost as well. And again, they were attacked by 110,000. The good news is, at least when it comes to the Reds, if they do want to achieve a breakthrough, they do have to consolidate and really use unholy numbers. That's good. They're not going to make it too particularly far either. Okay, I do want to hold them at that river. Now the vehicle pool for the Soviets is coming close. I mean, it's like they need 119k. They have 126,000 at the moment, but ideally, with this poor weather, they should start to lose vehicles more often. Another router division there. Those losses aren't nice at all, though. I'm losing nearly 1,000 men each time, and that's a lot of men. Large numbers. Again, we need to ideally retake that province. Well, that I did. The AI is not too bad, really. It does an effective job. Obviously, it's nowhere near the capabilities of a human player. But even for a human player, it would be just a case of having to consolidate, well, mass huge numbers. They wouldn't be moving very quickly. Yeah, very, very true. Might be a potential. Getting routed. Over 1,000 men lost. That is a lot of men lost there. These divisions are getting butchered. I think the new divisions that we have just pulling outside of Breslau will be committed to this area. Or do I commit them to the north? The north has the benefit of having the Vistula to fall back to. So I think we'll probably commit these forces from outside of Breslau to this area. They do have huge numbers of artillery, to be fair. And their forces are actually well supplied, or at least definitely better supplied than we are. At least having a couple turns of inaction For the most part of the line, we'll give it some time to also dig in and build up the supplies there. There we go. So relatively painless compared to the earlier turns. Still not great, but not as bad as it's been. Königsberg continues to hold, which is great news. The army group in Kurland continues to hold for the time being. At least we have that going for us. How were the losses? Yeah, so losses obviously still rather high, which is not good. So if we take a look at the AFVs, we do lose 156 here. But the Soviets still lose 391, so that's nice. At least they're losing a few. They've lost nearly 10,000, but then again they have so much well, production capabilities, and of course they do receive it Lend-Lease. But that's not so bad. So if we take a look, there's obviously been movement on the line, but they haven't been able to take these positions. So this is good. At least this is going to give time for our forces to start to recover. Which would be great. Yeah, these forces could be moved here. I mean, had this been the winter, when this would have been open ground, well, obviously frozen ground, they would have made it across here, no issue. So we'll take a look at the river. Sorry, at the weather. I think it's the ice that's still allowing them to probably cross the rivers without much issues. That should start to change in time. Yes. Still mud barrels, that's fantastic, that's what we need. So our last reinforcement has arrived, and the 25th Panzer Division has been pulled out. Shame. Could have done with them. Okay, we are seeing forces actually start to see some element upgrades, as well as elements being swapped out. Let's see. It's definitely going to be much easier on our replenishments. At least then there's not a huge amount having to be sent out. We can move it out. Alright, army status. Yeah. That's awful. Okay, so you can see that 488 vehicles were lost during this turn due to unit movement. 3,729 were damaged in this turn due to unit movement. Yeah. That's not bad actually, 6,852 were repaired. Right, and this is a number that counts. 13,000 tons of supplies required by the units for consumption. 9,109 tons of supplies consumed by units. So we are seeing a shortfall here. Ideally, that will increase. If we see an increase, that's going to be good. Now notice that a lot of our units are now starting to dig in. So a couple of weeks and they'll definitely be in there quite deep, especially here. Good. The thing what we'll do then is we'll commit the Panzer Grenadiers to the front line here. Make sure that they advance no further. But then again, there's nothing for them to gain here. In fairness, I could just stay on this line here, dig in on the river, and by the time they arrive, they'd definitely be facing something much more fierce than they would be expecting. But many of these forces are now ready for action. Though they're nowhere near full combat strength, they're definitely somewhat capable. We'll move in here, I'll hold the front line. Yeah, forces like this are now ready. But, yeah, I don't want them committed to the front line. I'll just have to do my best here to hold. Continue to dig in. So, how are you guys doing? I hope you're having a great evening. I assume it's evening for the vast majority of you. Let's see. Yep, continue that refit. We'll move these forces then. They'll definitely stop any further progression. Pretty much stop it dead. At least then I can actually move the infantry over here to actually aid in the defense. Issue is obviously when they move, they lose a lot of their capability. Nice afternoon. Damn, Lanza. Okay, move these forces over here. Yeah, they're definitely not going to be moving through there. If we take a look at the defensive values, we only got 7 there, 15, 18. So move some extra forces. You can see here 15. What I'll do then is I'll move the panzers. There we go, they should now hold the line. Okay. Wow. That's impressive. Okay, so they did push us out of the way here. What I'm going to do then is actually take the 10th Fortune Jaegers, move them here. They shouldn't have a chance to push them back now. The difficulty is as per usual over here. It's like they still have a lot of offensive power, like for example the guard rifles, they do have a lot of offensive power right there. I do need to make sure I hold on to this town though. Do I push back into this position here? It would be good to do really just to narrow down the combat width in all honesty. I can thankfully move in a decent number of troops, so at least that's something. Now these divisions are looking better, nearly 10,000, this one over 10,000. Definitely looking more healthy. Move you to the front. Good point made there. I should keep you on be fit. We'll have you move up to the front. Now the 5th Panzer. Let's see. That's an impressive amount of Panthers. 93 damaged, though 850 ready. I suppose it's not a huge number, but it's still a number that makes a difference. Right, pull that headquarters off the front line. I do need to retake this position. Issue is they are going to be battered again. But they won't be able to move forward, so that's what matters. There's so many units here concentrated. So very many. Right, how do we go... Whoops. How do we go here with the... progress? Right, okay, I need to build another one. Yes, we'll do that right now. I should actually probably start to move some fortified position. We've established another one here. That line's completed. So, I think what we'll do then is we'll actually start to move it down the Vistula. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to establish another one here as well. Okay. You can move closer to your headquarters. So can you. We'll establish a fortified zone in Bromberg. Keep moving down the Vistula. They may never be able to dig in, but at the end of the day, it gives us something to start with. Worthwhile. What I'm going to do here is actually move this headquarters up and move the armor up as well. So the armor can go on to reserve. Ideally that should help us hold the line. Move you back. And there we go. Make sure these troops are sent here to start digging in. We do have a bunch of construction battalions that could be issued. I'll do that. Okay. I do have these forces here. Let's see if I can get them out. It's definitely not worth moving them here, considering I have, like, very, very understrength units. But we'll get them out. At least they can be saved. Yeah, we could have actually, can actually commit some heavy forces. Their defense is over 100, which is very, very nice. So they really, really don't have a hope in hell of breaking through. They don't have much in the way of artillery. They don't have much in the way of armor. They just don't really have much in the way of anything, to be honest. I'm going to actually assign some extra units here, just something to aid. I could assign heavy panzers, which I think is too much. I'll assign some Panzerjägers, an additional Pioneer. I'll give them some assault guns as well. What I'm doing here is really trying to make sure they actually hold much longer, and ideally inflict much higher casualties upon the enemy. Yeah, might as well give them that Sturm artillery. There we go. You can see the numbers have definitely increased here. If we now take a look, we'll see that reflected shortly once they're registered. But let's take a look at the actual division. The Sturm artillery, yep. Assault guns. Pioneer is obviously very, very handy in an urban situation. Very, very handy. Many, many more assault guns. These Panzerjägers are very, very good. The Jagdpanzers and Jagdpanzer. I mean, 38. Is that the Hetzer? Very effective. I mean, this is a perfect environment for the tank destroyers. Narrow streets, obviously they have the positions already. They can imagine that the outskirts of the city probably belong to the Soviets. The interior of the city is under the Reich's control. Okay. So it did look rather poor in the earlier turn, but in reality things aren't so bad. We filled in the gaps here. Let's make sure we continue to dig in. Definitely along the river line. Okay. I may have you sent north actually instead in the future. Right, artillery. What I'm going to do is move this over here. Okay, have that division be assigned if I can. Right, not enough administration points, it's a shame. Okay, reserve. There we go. Okay, you're on ready, so we'll take you from the front line. I should move you towards your headquarters. Lovely. But yeah, you can see where they're starting to dig in now, which is very nice. We should be able to hold here relatively well. And yeah, with that, I mean, turns will definitely speed up now, as in all honesty, there's not a huge amount that we can do. I will take this 100th Jaeger division, actually. I'll have them sent to the north when I can. Maybe worth something. Okay. The only same way to attack Königsberg at this point would be for the Soviets to flatten it with artillery. Yeah, that's very true. Hell of a lot of flames, just really flatten it. Right, this is the spot I'm particularly worried about. Can I have you reassigned? I can't as of yet, but I'll take you off the train. There we go. Fill in the gap here. Yeah, you can see these troops are actually very effective in mud. In just poor terrain, they are exceedingly good. You can see that defensive value has dramatically increased. Oh, fantastic. As far as it goes for over here in the north, again, difficult situation, can't really pull back as of yet. We will be digging in now. You can see these fortifications have been started. For example, this is level 3, which is nice. Level 3 here, of course, and level 2. This is good. It's a shame that we lost the port. It would have been nice to have retaken the port, but we had to give it up when we did. Perhaps we might have been able to hold on to it, but I'm fine with that. At least we have something to actually speak of. Fortifications will start here in time. But at least we'll have a solid position towards the Sudetenland Mountain. I think we may consider putting a defensive position here in the center of the town. It would be very nice. Use the Carpathian Mountains, Sudeten Mountains, really to hold them. I don't think they'll make it. This is good. I mean, the mountains would be great, but if I can keep them away from Prague, I'd be very happy. Prague, of course, having a lot of production. Jagdpanzer 38, very, very nice. Do need to hold on to those. Right, so I'm confident enough to move on to the next turn. As we've said, there's not a huge amount to be doing now. We need to really just take a look at this vehicle pool. The big movements are rather over. Now what we need to do is just make sure that we can actually form a solid defensive line. Prevent the Red Army from advancing any further. Give the Reich time to breathe, which is sorely needed. Compared to the earlier turns, the offensive momentum of the Red Army is very much slowed down. Does it mean that we're not losing huge numbers? We lost, what, nearly 30,000 men last turn? That's a lot of men. Compared to the heady days in the winter, where we're losing 40 to 50,000. Not killed, but just casualties in total. Right, we are forced to retreat now. But again, this is it. Over 100,000 men are needed. I'm not happy about these men keep routing. It seems armor will be necessary to stop them. Right, we do hold them here. Yes, the Red Army definitely wants to continue the offensive. I suppose that comes from the fact that I can't imagine Stalin would be happy at this point. I wonder where the Allies would be at this point in time. I think we're beginning a little bit nervous. That's a question actually to the audience. Where would the Western Allies be at this point in time? How close to Berlin? It does really scare me to see the fact that we're still getting pushed back even in this weather. They can do it, but the thing is, once they would be near the far edge of the map. Yeah, impressive. I can imagine Stalin would be getting very, very anxious. Very, very anxious. This is a lot of men. Do hold the line against 215,000 men. These numbers are really starting to just dramatically increase. They would also be showing to the south of Prague. Patton in Dresden and Dempsey in Hamburg. Jesus. Yes, can you imagine the amount of executions? Stalin would be rolling heads like there's no tomorrow at this point. 148,000 men. I'm so very glad they're holding. And I spoke too soon. If we can re-establish that position, I'll be extremely happy. Thankfully we're able... No, we can't. That's it. That position's gone. Right, we desperately need to get forces out of Kurland now. Otherwise, yeah, things are going to get real. But we do have the advantage of the river now, so at least our defensive position is that much stronger. But that's a shame, we've lost a solid entrenched position. We don't have many of those. We really do not have many. Yeah. They did hold up against huge odds though. Though sadly not enough to make it worthwhile. Yeah, you can see why I moved extra forces to that area. I'm not appreciating the amount of losses. I mean, it might be worthwhile to assign potentially additional artillery there. They really want to push me back. Really want to push me back. Yeah, I mean, my movements in Kurland haven't been great. I did intentionally, well, I did try for the counterattack. That completely backfired. Definitely backfired. Now, ideally, they don't take the town. If they take the town, that is going to be pain in the backside. This is going to be very difficult and impossible to retake it. I'm not happy that our losses are still rather poor. Yeah, routed. Well, I suppose at the end of the day, that does narrow down the front. It's not the worst case scenario. It does put more pressure upon the panzers and the panzer grenadiers. Like so. I do hold, but we are losing a lot of vehicles per turn. Those are some really rough losses. That's 120,000 men. Yep, they're definitely falling back. Seems like we may still yet have to fall back to the Vistula. I will continue to delay them as much as possible. I mean, the Vistula being a major river should give us a good, strong position. But nothing's guaranteed. I mean, the Red Army has definitely changed tactics. They've gone from advancing across wider fronts here to really concentrating their offensive powers. Which, I've got to say, is going to work nonetheless. They will suffer, but they will push, and they will push us. Without much loss either. It does hurt me. Really does. But we'll keep them from Berlin. And we'll keep them from, ideally, Germany. What do you ladies and gentlemen think then? Should we reinforce the Vistula? I do have some divisions I've gathered together. Could be done. Yeah, the turns are definitely going faster now, which is good. Try to make the most of it. Ideally, whoever does stay solid. Right. Let's see. The losses continue to be, yeah, about 22 to 23,000. Which are rough, very rough, but it's not so bad. The Soviet losses are decreasing, of course, due to the fact that they're not attacking as many places. They do seem to be losing around about 300 armoured fighter vehicles each turn, though, which is numbers that they can replace, like, no problem. Now, if we take a look then, so house fortification. So very long here. So very long. And this is the issue, the Soviets have a major advantage in just entrenching, as they do on the hard difficulty. Our forces take significantly longer. Like, for example, these positions are really starting to reach level 2 now. We'll continue to hold as best we can. I'm thinking that we maybe move these divisions. Then again, you know what, I do have these divisions arriving from Kurland. They do seem to be of stronger stock. They do seem to be, well, used to adversity. They do have very good morale as well, so that's good. I can actually move them in here. Move them onto the front line. To be fair, let's say, these forces here, lots of fatigue. How are they? Yes, fatigue's much lower. So I think that's what we'll have to do. We'll replace some of these forces on the front line with these forces from Kirtland. Yeah, indeed. Okay. This is a big problem. Not happy that we lost that position there. We do have one level 3 position, another one here, 2, 2, 2. At least these positions on the flank are solid enough. This one needs to hold just so we have that little bit of space. But what I'm going to try to do then is allow out some additional forces. Okay, it seems like I can move an additional Panzer Division out there. That's good enough. I'm going to have these forces attached directly to, well, actually, there's nobody's in range. Okay. Well, they still have a decent number of armored fighter vehicles now. Okay. It's not showing me actual true value there. Yes. Seems some forces actually pulled out. It'd be very interesting to play the scenario against a human player. I think I would have definitely been defeated. Just the sheer amount of Soviet power that they have. That's true. Well, we can, well, we have to withdraw some units just to make sure that we have some actual room to pull back in. They should probably survive till the end of the war. Yeah, like, for example, the Soviet forces here at level 2 entrenchment. Impressive. Very impressive. Okay, let's see. We're going to try and pull forces out from the front here, move these new forces in. It's going to take some effort to do, to be honest. Yeah, these divisions are just trash. Move that command over there. Yeah, your forces are all in this area. I'll pull back with what I can. I do desperately want to dig in this front line. Over here, it's worthwhile just to disband this due to the fact that we have that level 3 entrenchment and they can hold that now. I could move armor here. The division's morale is very high, actually. It's very nice. Okay, so we'll move armor in here. That should ideally put an end to the advance. At least it'll give them a much better chance of actually holding. Can I give them some additional support? Yeah, I'll give them Sturm Artillery as well as Panzerjägers. Do I give them additional Panzerjägers? Yeah, we'll give. No, I'll give them Pioneers. Pioneers are always a very good thing to have. Right. Now, with additional support, they should be able to hold that line. I do have rail line usage. Let's see if I can move any of these troops like so. No rail line there. That's fine. You can see here with 3 divisions, it's taken them some time to actually dig in, and these are like 3-4 divisions. Well, not 3-4 divisions, but you know, 3 divisions. Not just like dregs stuff. That's a big issue. Ideally, I could use some armor. Okay. Holstein division is needed here. If we have a chance of holding on. Gross Deutschland is going to be broken up again. Then again, Gross Deutschland is always at its strongest on its, well, complete. I'll move you there. We'll move Gross Deutschland to the front. Let's see. I do have the Brandenburg Panzergrenadier Division. It's a shame because a lot of our forces are consistently routing. It makes it very difficult to actually have infantry on the front line that are capable of holding. That is a big issue. So many units are just trying their absolute best to be made ready. The ice level continues to drop though quite nicely. See the first Hammergarden Panzer Division upgraded. Yeah, to a new, yeah, from a 34 to 44. That's a big difference. But this is good. These are changes that actually are going to make the division more powerful. Now that's very good. This is what I was talking about. So 13,000 tons required, 9,700 tons have made it to the front line. That's great news. It means that more of our forces are receiving their supplies, which is great. It means that they'll actually start to become more effective. Very, very good. I like that. Right, eventually we'll start digging in here. We're doing very good here due to the sheer amount of men. Okay. I will have the panzers from the 17th Army moved here to help hold that position. The 344th are really just pretty much done. Yeah, this is a big issue here as well. You may be really poor, so you do need to be sent into the city. I do have additional forces over here that I could move to another command to help shore up this part of the line. As for getting them there, that's a different question. I'll spread out some of the armor. Right. Those troops aren't fit for combat. We'll fall back. There's no need for us to hold that position. At least I have a better position here in the city, which is going to give me a hell of a lot more defensive capabilities. Just continue to dig in. You need to dig in. I'm going to move these additional divisions back. At the end of the day, I think having them there is going to be worthwhile just to try and dig in that bit more. I still have all these divisions on the rail line, should I need to move them. I'd say probably so. Their morale's actually pretty damn good. I'll keep them waiting for the time being, though. I don't think the time's quite yet there for them to be moved. I'll move armor to the front where we need it. Right. These Jaegers need to be moved in. Ah, this is difficult. Do I have anything I could give you to help you? No. I'm determined to make sure that we dig in this position at the very least. At the end of the day, we need to. We absolutely need to dig in there. Otherwise, we are going to get pushed back continuously further and further. Like, for example, over here, which is bad. I could probably do with reinforcements in this area. I mean, I could do with reinforcements everywhere. Alright, move you there for the time being. Look at how weak they are. It's still better than nothing. We have them on reserve. I mean, 3 divisions here. Barely a single division's worth of men. Pathetic. Have you moved to the rear? Right, we'll move these men up. These men will definitely come in handy. What I'm going to start to do is, let's see. I think this is where they need to be deployed, considering that we will be pushed back here, but we do have a lot of rivers. We do have a solid defensive position that will be set up. So it's a matter of time until this position here is really exposed. Move there, hopefully aid in digging in. Right, let's see. I don't have the capacity to move you. I'd rather move you via rail. Okay. Bring out an additional Panzer Division. Okay, that's good. Another 189 vehicles saved. Depleted. Move them to the front there. Yeah, well, we've got out a additional Panzer Division. Table of equipment. Just look at that, 5%. There's barely anything there. Barely anything. Truly a terrible position for them to be in. I think when it comes to it, we're really just trying to dig in as best as we can now. Luckily, more supplies are making it to the front line. I think while these men are here, what we'll do is we'll actually take them off the train. I mean, that Jaeger division would be extremely handy. There's another Panzer division still to take from Kurland. Right. Take you off the train, have you deploy over here. While we have the ability, I could probably try and use these divisions to set up an additional fallback line here. It's so difficult, because once they actually, if they make it here, if the weather changes, they make it here, it's going to be all over. I mean, obviously I'll have to try and man this line. I'll have the troops for it, but yeah, worst case scenario is where we have to hold Dayton land, and obviously the Oder line. Ideally, we never get to that situation. Right. We'll advance one more turn. Lots of turns being made here. We may actually be able to finish this scenario for the next stream, which would be lovely. Let's see how we get on then, shall we? Not many turns now, so we're just processing the 16th turn. So only 4 more turns after that, then we'll have reached the end of the scenario. Which I didn't think we would have been able to reach at some points. I see we'll end up being pushed back. Yeah, just like that. Oh dear, this is why I'm so keen on making sure we have something dug in. Because if the weather changes, we are going to be absolutely up for it. The Red Army would completely obliterate us in certain positions now. Luckily, the amount of supplies reaching the front line is increased, which is very, very vital. Right, we do luckily hold there. It is the river line there. Which is great. Yeah, it's with the weather changing like this, it does make our troops a hell of a lot more formidable on the defense. On the offense, they have no chance. But the time for offenses is really long gone, I've got to say. Good, we hold there. Yeah, weather and flexible moves indeed. We've had no choice but to be flexible here. I mean, I'm not happy with how the units are arranged. Yeah, the troops in Courland have had an awful, awful time. I wish I still had the operational depth that I did at the start. I mean, we used to be just on the outskirts of Riga. The issue is a lot of these positions don't have a chance to dig in due to constant attack. The Red Army is consistently attacking here every turn. They really do want to take out these forces. Look at that. Oh my lord. Again, 192,000 men. And again, we hold. Bloody hell. The losses, though, aren't exactly huge. Yeah. And the good news as well is, as we obviously hold on to a lot of these positions, we are gaining manpower that we normally would not have had. So all these towns, all these cities that we retain control of does actually help us out. I'm not happy with the amount of vehicles we're losing there. Really losing a lot. Jeez, there's a lot of enemies. We do hold that position, but yeah, there's a lot of armored fighting vehicles knocked out. And they did see 41 damaged, but that's not huge. I mean, I suppose, and this is it, these numbers are big in reality, it's just on the face of it, they're not as large as we need them to be. But that was a good battle there, 18 damaged, 8 destroyed. Yeah, an additional 8 destroyed there, that's nice. Yeah, Königsberg, I mean, the city is definitely holding. A very well fortified city. And the fact that it has a port as well means that those troops continue to receive supply, which makes it even harder for the Soviets. They can't actually cut the city off either. Very, very good. Right, that's not good. Right, fantastic. We continue to hold that. That was almost a 1-to-1 ratio there. Thank God for that. I can't see them gain too much ground, otherwise it's going to be extremely hard. Yeah, that's what I mean, south of Bromberg. That's... Oh... Yeah, that open ground is making it easier on them. I may have to deploy those additional troops, but I don't want to do that yet. Though they are near in Bromberg, and they are near in the rather important rail line there. We should still hold. I think we're quite confident of that one. Not happy to see that town go. But it looks like we are going to be pushed beyond the river there, which is not the worst case scenario. Yeah, that's true. The time will definitely help out. The woods definitely will help out as well. They're very nice. We would combine them with the mud that does form a pretty strong position. I can imagine the men would be quite glad of that cover. Good we hold. Yeah, they're definitely sending a lot against us here. "18 armored fighting vehicles destroyed." And we'll take a look actually and see what vehicles we may have captured from the Soviets. Oh, it's just as the game resolves. I don't think it shows whoever the same. Yeah, relatively painless. Overall, not too bad at all. I mean, this is it. This is why I was so ready for the mud. You can definitely tell in the urgency here. It's like the situation is relatively stable. We are being pushed back in certain locations. Again, yeah, 23,000 men gone. But it's somewhat static. Right. The vehicle amount that we have doesn't really increase. A shame, I was hoping it would do. But this is not too bad. Oh, good God. Clear. Oh, good God. Oh, good God. Okay. Now, thankfully, we do have a lot of mounted strain here. Good God. Right. It's a little bit hard to tell the difference here. Is this the South Soviet zone? No, it doesn't seem to be. Oh, good God. Yeah, that's just showing the current weather condition, I think. That's clear. That's not good news. That's not good news at all. I was honestly banking on that weather remaining muddy. Oh dear. That's going to make things remarkably more complicated. We do thankfully have the mountains. I do thankfully have some reserves here. But this is going to be a big issue. Okay, this is dangerous. Ah. And again, this makes even more competition for where these troops need to be deployed. We may have to deploy them piecemeal, but... yeah, you can see they're starting to dig in now, which is great. At least we have a fortified zone there. Again, nothing here, which is a shame. How are these meant to win? Not huge numbers. It's just really having them rest. So if we take a look at fatigue... it's definitely lower. I mean, let's take a look at units in front of. Ooh, that is some heavy, heavy fatigue levels there. I think that's the reason why a lot of our divisions is given, is the fact that their fatigue is very, very high. Oh dear. Definitely. Light levels of fatigue, obviously, in these units in the rear line. Yeah, just look at the difference here in combat capability. 21. Definitely. This is dangerous. This is very dangerous. The good news is that, you know what? We may yet be pushed back to this defensive line. We very well may yet be. If the weather changes to clear, I don't know if we have the capability to hold them back. I really don't. I think we will probably lose a lot of ground. We may end up having to be pushed back the older line, which I'm not happy. So, how do we prepare for this? We do have decent defenses here. We do have decent levels of... you can see the Reds are definitely moving back up to the front line. At least we have fortified positions here in the south. The best we've got, really. I think we need to reinforce this part of the line. So I'll put these troops on the front line then. I don't think we have any other choice, frankly. Okay. Especially here opposing the Soviet armor. We'll reinforce these single divisions here. The US should be just about closing in on the Elbe. Oh, isn't that something to worry about? Yes, we have the Elbe here. It seems like the Americans would probably, well, the Allied forces would probably reach Berlin before the Reds did in this scenario. I don't imagine it would have been a good situation. I can imagine that a lot of forces would obviously have been shifted from the east and moved to the west. Not a situation that you want to be in all round, really. Now, if we take a look, Königsberg is, well, it's not isolated, but it is receiving beachhead supply. So what that means is basically the only supply region this city now is coming from the actual port. These units are still part of the supply network. And we can see here that these forces here are on beachhead supply. That's obviously due to the difficulty of reaching their position, but they'll hold nonetheless. What I have here, I have another call. Right. So as far as it goes, I think what we'll have to do then is really decide where these troops need to go. I think, in all honesty, they need to go to the south here, to this position, along here. The clear terrain will definitely make that dangerous. The Reds continuously push me back here. I may yet just fall back to the river here just to make sure we have a stronger position. The ice continues to fall, so that's great. I honestly wanted something to be dug in by now. I mean, even with additional troops, it's taking too long. It may be due to the refits. If I set them to ready, they may start to dig in. But yes, I may be able to... well, I might be able to save the 12th Panzer Division. At the end of the day, that is a good number of Panthers and Panzers saved. But that will come in the following session. So 4 more turns to go. We'll see how that goes. Until next time, guys, thank you so very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this stream. I apologise it's not been as action-packed as the previous streams, but with the change in weather, the situation on the ground dramatically changes. Well, we'll take a quick look and just see how many tons of supplies are making it to the front. Sorry about that. Thankfully it's not the central or the north. But we'll see. We'll continue to hold anyway. Okay. 9,500 tons this time. A drop of about 200 tons, but definitely an increase of about 400 tons in total. So yes, thank you ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have enjoyed this, and I hope to see you again in the future. Goodbye for now. Have a great evening, day, afternoon, wherever. Have a great one. I hope to see you again in the future. Goodbye for now.